as I'm sure you're aware, and the majority of people are aware now, it is Black History Month. I mean, I don't know about
Do
you.
we have to clap or something? Or I don't know.
We probably should.
Woot.
Woot. Yeah, that will do. But of course, it very much feels like it's been, at least to me, Black History Month for the last year and a half since BLM successfully monopolised the entire discussion on race after George Floyd's murder. But as you'd expect, the overwhelming majority of companies and institutions, small and large, seem to have bought it, or at the very least are doubling down to posture the idea that they have bought it. So, what I picked out are some snapshots from the co-op, which was sent to us by one of our subscribers. Thank you very much for sending this through, which says, we are proud to be supporting Black History Month. October is Black History Month, a month of celebration but also reflection and learning. It's a time to reflect on the diverse histories and achievements of Black people and their significant contributions to society, even in the face of long-standing challenges and injustices that exist today. We know that Black people aren't treated equally. This is unacceptable and an uncomfortable fact. And as a business, we want to use our voice to make change happen societally. We know from hearing directly from colleagues the impacts that racial abuse and inequality has on their lives, and quite simply, we have to act. We want all colleagues who work for our co-op to feel included and that they belong. You'll hear more about our commitments to racial equality and inclusion in 2020 and our progress soon. Oh, so this must be, did it say 2020?
No, 2021 at the top, though.
Yeah. Oh, anyway. But yeah, we've literally heard this on repeat for the last year and a half, haven't we?
Just for foreigners as well, I might not know who the co-op are. This isn't some weird niche communist thing in the UK. This is a major food brand, for example. I think they do a lot more than just food as well.
Yeah.
It's like Walmart or something.
Yeah, and they do funerals as well.
Banking, all sorts of things.
Yeah. So that their reach in terms of services is quite wide. But lectures about Black history have basically been ubiquitous for some time. I mean, hence the fact that pressure to implement like mandatory diversity and inclusivity and unconscious bias training has been unrelenting. I mean, we've heard stories like this almost constantly for the last year. I mean, quite recently, you may have heard, the University of Kent, according to the Times, have now decided that students at the university must take a white privilege course before they even get to begin the courses they're actually paying for. And all of this is in virtue of naturally pressure from Black Lives Matter, you would think, who have made Black History Month almost a permanent event. But anyway, let's move on to the second part of this and the more cringeworthy fragment of this this virtue signal, as you will see. So this is Steve, the chief executive of the co-op. As a white man, I know I have privilege, and I know that I'll not face into the experiences that Black people do every day because of the colour of their skin. It does say that, doesn't it? That's why, for me, learning is so important. I want to use this month to reset, to gain more insight into what it's like to be a Black person working for the co-op, a Black person living in the UK. I say reset because this learning needs to be continual. We can't stop learning about Black history or the experiences Black people are having because Black History Month comes to a close on the 31st of October. When November comes, I'll still be seeking to understand our Black colleagues' experiences, questioning myself and others and seeking opportunities to learn more. Ultimately, I want to use my own privilege to support our Black colleagues and make a difference, and a key focus for this month is for me to understand what needs to be tackled right now and how I can do this. Is there any substantial content to this monologue whatsoever? I mean, this could have been summarised as follows. I'm privileged because I'm white, and Black History Month is important. I mean, in what he hasn't, for example, explained exactly why he is privileged, what white privilege even means, and what specifically is the UK, well, he hasn't talked about this at all, what specifically is the UK failing to cover on the matter of Black history? I mean, I wish he was here to speak for himself, of course, but I would assume he has no idea. So put simply, this is just a virtue signal, and Steve, you should stop it. So let's move on to Shrine, who is the CFO and chief executive. Black History Month gives us an opportunity to properly showcase and understand how Black people have made Britain what it is today. Their blood, sweat and tears created great wealth for this nation. However, the other side of this coin is a story of imperialism, greed and abuse. Until recently, this history has not been adequately discussed, documented or taught in schools. Recent news that Welsh children will learn about Black history for the national curriculum should be applauded. So, in what way, Shrine, has the national curriculum ignored the contributions that Black people have made to the Western world? I mean, when, for example, you were taught history in secondary school, do you not remember this being covered comprehensively? Because I do.
What I remember was studying foreign history. I don't actually remember us focusing on Britain at all.
Yeah.
So that's probably another aspect, but then I'm going to blame these people for that.
Yeah, but this does not mirror. I learned about this quite a long time ago when I was about 11 or 12. So I can testify for the fact that this is not right. I mean, in year 7, I thank Mr. Jackson for this if he's listening. The first thing I learned in history was about biases and historical contexts. That was the very first thing that I learned. That's probably the most valuable thing you can actually learn about history, because it shows that naturally you can't literally take things as piecemeal. And after that, we learned about the brief history of the slave trade, which we covered again and again in subsequent years. And we moved on to Martin Luther King, who's probably the most important person in the Black liberation movement. So are the post-racial principles of Martin Luther King now part of this story of imperialism? Is that what we've now got to accept?
Yes.
Actually, that's a silly question, of course.
Like the opening text of the Critical Race Theory book, for example, Carlsgore, they literally list Martin Luther King and his movement because it's for not separate societies in which blacks can thrive, but instead for integration. He's integrating himself into the white supremacist system.
So they've made it as explicit as that.
Yeah, they literally write Martin Luther King, blah 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 blah. Wait, I have to get the quote back up, but that is the argument in the open, like the introduction to the textbook.
Okay, well that yeah, needless to say, that's that makes sense actually. It doesn't make it any less depressing, however, but nonetheless.
Oh, so is she talking about UK teaching black?
I presume
English
she's
history?
talking about UK teaching.
Because Martin Luther King doesn't have anything to do with that. I'm sorry. But...
Yeah. I mean, she just doesn't mention Martin Luther King. It was basically just I brought it up for the simple reason that my history teacher quite clearly was already concerned. And thus there was, of course, an acknowledgement that this should be a matter of concern in the national curriculum, that we discuss these things in virtue of the things that I suppose Black History Month is about. The point is we've already been covering this ground. It's not like we've actually purged this out in virtue of white supremacy. Like, this is explicitly wrong. And ultimately it should be exposed as the PR stunt that it ultimately is. But anyway, we'll move on from the co-op for now and move on to Marks and Spencer's, who have gone even further by launching an entirely new fashion line.
For black people?
Not for black people, no. But so they've announced a new partnership with England rugby star. Again, I'm sorry if I pronounce his name wrong. Maro Itoje. So Maro has teamed up with M&S Menswear to front the collections for autumn 2021, where he will showcase a versatile range of stylish products with broad appeal across M&S collection and Autograph. The autumn ranges feature a number of more relaxed silhouettes and stretch fabrics. The new collections are all designed with style, trusted quality and care for the planet in mind, values which Maro proudly shares with Marks and Spencer's. And if we go down to the community and inclusion section, which is that's of greatest interest. In addition to his professional rugby career, Maro is also a patron for the Black Curriculum, an organisation which aims to provide a sense of belonging and identity to young people across the UK by teaching an accessible, arts-focused Black British history curriculum in schools through the delivery of programmes, as well as supporting teachers through teacher training. M&S also supports the initiative of one of its community and inclusion Sparks charities, and this October, Black History Month, the penny donation for M&S every time a customer shops with the charity selected as their Sparks charity will be doubled. And Itoje says himself, the Black Curriculum is a wonderful social enterprise that looks to increase the amount of Black history taught in schools. The brilliant work they do is what got me involved. I wanted to be a part of it and help in any way that I could. For a start, I think the new clothing line, if we actually have a look at him in the clothes, actually looks pretty good. I just want to say that, but as does Maro Itoje modelling it, and that's from a heterosexual perspective, I must make that explicit. But again, I think any rational person will be put off by the fact that it seems like a person of colour is being tokenised to sell clothing to a customer base that, let's be honest, is comprised overwhelmingly of boomers who progressives hate. I mean, if you could actually define a kind of like a boomer market, or a company that ultimately appeals to a boomer market, for me, Marks and Spencer's is very much that. But anyway, so very well thought out Marks and Spencer's, well done.
I can't get over. Hang on, why is Black History Month in October? I thought it was February as well. Like, I know in Britain it's different, but I don't know why.
I don't know.
It also seems kind of racist to put it in the same month as Halloween, but whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's that. If we move on to Sainsburys, So Sainsburys have done a couple of things. First, they've uploaded a video of some of their colleagues reading out a poem by Bakita Quesada. Let's give this a listen. Oh, is there no video there? Yeah, there it is. Oh, sorry.
Being black in the UK is having more than one place to call home.
Where are you really from, though?
Not having to remember elders' names.
They're all aunties and uncles anyway.
My barnet is no political statement.
Even if it's rare.
You still can't touch my hair.
More role models on screen than ever before.
Only embraced.
When we're winning.
My identity is a source of pride. We find belonging in each other.
Our spice.
Styles
And moves.
Shape the culture.
Well, I love kind of the gaslighting tactic implicit here, consisting of this is not a political matter. Despite the fact that, of course, multiculturalist political presuppositions are all over this. I mean, the biggest clue is at the early line is that it reads that there is more than one place to call home. Not sure if you picked up on that. Well, on principle, this doesn't sound all that bad. One can, of course, find home in more than one little platoon. But anyone with a political head screwed on can identify that little platoons are not what's being inferred here. What's being inferred and thus transmitted as a social universal is the idea that people of different ethnic backgrounds shouldn't feel obliged to integrate into the parent culture and, by extension, the parent societies. So even if Sainsburys are aware of this or not, this is nonetheless what they are propagating. That cannot not be political. So anyway, they've made another contribution, which is about the improving their African and Caribbean product offering. If we scroll down just a little bit, up a little bit. Oh no, it's down. Sorry.
Don't worry about it. Just
I don't know. No, but what they're doing is offering a more comprehensive range for African and Caribbean meals. That's what
it comes down to. Yeah, we're selling black people food. Black people buy our food.
Yeah,
It's
I mean
like-
that's quite literally what it is.
God.
I mean, maybe I'm being ignorant here, but who's ever objected to having more choice in supermarkets?
But also, a lot of Caribbean food is actually kind of it's kind of integrated. Let's say like curry is to Britain.
Well, that's what I thought. And isn't there kind of like isn't
Nah.
it part and parcel of British culture to kind of welcome the choice?
But no whiteys are touching the jerk chicken. Not
Yeah.
allowed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, let's not of course forget that Sainsburys were a company who, well, for Black History Month last year, created safe spaces defined by the fact that white
Yeah.
people couldn't enter them.
I was going to say, I mean, it's not too outlandish. I mean, we did the leaks as well. Like, we got sent loads of leaks. There's articles about it on lotuses.com. And Sainsbury's, of course, being the ones that segregated their own workforce by race into
Yep.
little safe spaces for the people who weren't white. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So then they were there, but also the car. We had loads of stuff from them. We were literally like lecturing their staff on how to be good white people. I was like, what does that even mean? Like, here's extra lectures for you whiteys to learn how to be good because you can't be trusted or something. I mean, I used to work for the co-op as well, so I know how bad they can be, but it seems they get worse and worse every year.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they seem to be doubling down on the standards they've already set. So, regrettably, it does seem like this is the line now.
If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast, The Lotus Eaters, you can catch the full podcast at 1 p.m. every weekday UK time at lotuseaters.com. You can also sign up at lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site.
Yeah, that's how we keep this whole operation running. And recently we've put up loads of great stuff, such as this interview with legendary comedian Steve Hughes, one of my personal favourite comedians, so it was a real honour to be able to meet him. But one thing that I didn't expect, that he would be such a deep thinker, and this podcast is genuinely like a meeting of minds in a way. He was right on my wavelength on a bunch of things and helped me actually connect a bunch of dots, but I'm not going to carry on and spoil it. We also, of course, have lots of interesting articles that have been written, such as this one by Josh about the dumbest country on earth. And for premium, for silver tier subscribers, we also include a link, so it's we have an audio reading of it from a chap called Jonathan, who has a very smooth voice that you will enjoy. And this is great because often I don't have time to read all of the articles we put up, because we've put up a lot of regular content, and so this saves me the hassle of having to read it myself. So I really actually am very appreciative of this feature on a personal level. But we also do the contemplations and epochs, which are just interesting podcasts about interesting things. These are regular weekly podcasts. So this one is one of our writers, Josh, who's he's got a master's degree in psychology, talking about theories of intelligence and how they matter. And of course, we've got the epochs where myself and Bo, or in this case it was Josh and Bo, talking about the life of Sir Francis Drake. So that's 2 solid hours talking about England's most notorious adventurer. But we've also got lots and lots of other ones. This is number 21, so there's a good back catalogue there. And finally, we have our book clubs, and this is the part that I'm most proud of. Recently, we've done Shooting an Elephant by George Orwell, and
Reflections on a Ravaged Century by Robert Conquest.
Yeah, Robert Conquest is fantastic. Just if you want Western chauvinist historian, he's your man.
Anti-socialism.
Yes, in all forms, it's fantastic. And like I said, that's what keeps the podcast running. So if you want to become a member, thank you very much, and we think there's some great stuff you'll enjoy.